Hey people, welcome to the channel and stay for this video. I think it's an interesting one. I got a question from someone in my Spanish channel about in what cases, in which situations has preparedness either saved your life or spared you from, going through something bad, right? Bad moments in life and whatnot. And I think it's a fair enough question, right? Why are you doing these things? Has it ever actually worked for you? Have you ever used any of these things? So yeah, let's just go do that. By the way, this is the conversation that I'm referring to in my Spanish channel, which has over 260,000 subscribers, guys. And I started way after my English channel, which has 90,000. I would love to reach 100,000 subscribers in my English channel. So if you like what I do here, do subscribe. If you want to prepare more, not only do you have the channel, you have my books, which you always have over here, Surviving the Economic Collapse, which now you have the audio book. This is all AI created. I just clicked on this thing this morning and it's already there. And it's actually pretty good. I actually checked the sound and I thought that actually sounds very good. I kept on listening for a while, so yeah, you may want to check that out. The audiobook of Surviving the Economic Collapse. You also have Survival Skills, which I'm not sure. I have the option of going for the audiobook, but this one has so many little doodles and graphics and descriptions of things. I don't know, maybe there's maybe someone wants to have the audiobook version as well, and if you bought the book, it's usually gonna be like at a discount or something. Anyway, you have all of that stuff available in Amazon if you want to learn more about this stuff and audiobooks and whatnot. I always recommend getting the physical book. I'm a book kind of guy, so I'd rather have the physical thing that no one controls and no one takes from me. But I do get, and this is something that was requested many times, you know what, I drive a lot, so I want to listen. The audiobook makes sense, especially for this one that has, well, this one is all text. So this one was a lot more, a lot better for the going to audiobooks anyway. I'm getting a lot of this stuff, especially from the Spanish channel. There's a lot of interest from people in Spain with everything going on in Europe. A lot of people interested in this, in other countries as well. The French version of the book and such. Look, preparedness, the way I see it, is a way of life. It's not that you're preparing for zombies. One of the conversations I had once with one of these reality TV things, which I never ended up going to any of them. I did not just a few months ago. I did one on precious metals and gold and cryptocurrency. That thing is still, it's supposed to go in Netflix eventually at some point. So yeah, if you see my mug there at some point, it's because of that. But I remember in one of these doomsday prepper things that, so what are you preparing for? And I was like, well, I don't know. I'm preparing for life, for what we have to deal with this stuff here. I was in Argentina at that time still, and yeah, it's like this is how we live now, right? The economy collapsed, everything sucks, and there's a lot more violence, a lot more instability, a lot more inflation. Everything is everything sucks right now, basically. So that's what I do. And the producer, the lady, girl, probably, very young person, was okay, so you're like preparing for the end of the world? No, I just told you, I'm not waiting for the end of anything. The collapse already happened here. We already went through this shit. It's just about, living with it as it is. And she was like, yeah, but we have to present it like, we have the guy that prepares for peak oil. We have the doomsday guy for the meteor, right? And where would we put it? I don't know. Eventually we didn't do anything because there was a waiver to be signed that basically gave away rights of anything that I ever did with my life from that moment on, which no. But my point is, you do yourself a disservice if you try to put this into a box. If preparedness for you is, I'm preparing for when this or that happens, prepare for everything. Prepare for life as it is. And one of the things I explain in my books is prepare first for those things that are inevitable, that will happen. You will grow old. You will have the problems that everyone has. You will probably have health issues at some points. You will probably go through family stuff, economic stuff, work stuff. So prepare for all of that before you start worrying about the fucking zombies, which will never come, right? And yeah, in my case, self-defense was always a big thing because it was damn dangerous. And answering the question here of when has preparedness saved your life? I mean, there's been the case that I've been some people try to mug me, try to rob me in my house, enter my house, carjacking a couple of times, in situations like those. And yeah, being prepared, yes, made a difference. Having not only the right tool in the moment, but also the training so as to act in the right manner, that made a huge difference. I can't tell you, oh, if I had done this, I would have died, right? Because I'm still here, so probably I did something right. If I was dead, I could tell you, well, yeah, this got me killed, right? Not doing this thing at that time. But I can only assume that things would have been a lot worse for me if I haven't done the things I've done or reacted the way I reacted in all of those. And having had the training and keeping a cool head during those moments made a huge ass difference, right? And there's been cases of people that have gone through similar things and acted in a different way and got hurt or worse. So yeah, I guess that is something that I can say works. That's why I've always been super upfront and very insisting a lot on the aspect of self-defense in preparedness, right? When people would get my book, right, and they think, oh, talking about an economic collapse, and you end up writing a book that's half about shooting and guns and self-defense, well, because that's what happens when things really get that bad. Then you have a bunch of other things, a bunch of other situations. Honestly, if I tell you, what is it that you've done related to modern survivalism, as you call it, that saved your life? Well, one of the things I didn't do is get vaccinated with that crap that a lot of people did. I don't know what would have happened. Would I have gotten that and died? I don't know. Maybe not. I assume that it could have been the case that no. Statistically speaking, no. But statistically speaking, I know there's a lot of bullshit floating around, and I know of a lot of people that had strokes, heart problems, lost an eye, had facial paralysis, half the head, half the face like a stroke because of a blood clot. And these things have happened a lot more than what you see admitted in the media. And not only that, I can tell you of a bunch of times in which going to a doctor, myself, my wife, with my kids, and we were told, oh, you have to do this, or this child needs this right away. And I was like, okay, yeah, no, I'll get a second and maybe even a third opinion, but we're not doing that. And they're like, oh, you dare challenge the fucking establishment? Yeah, of course. And these are things that may not sound super cool and are not the first thing you think of in terms of preparedness, but god damn it, it has made a massive difference. I don't know what would have happened. I mean, I've had, I was told I had asthma, many years ago. I don't have fucking asthma. What are you talking about? I've never been out of breath. It's rather the opposite. If I have, like, for example, right now, a stuffy nose because of, whatever, summer thing going on in the air, it's just fucking normal. You just deal with that. It's not a problem. Actually, the opposite. If you go for a nice walk and exercise a little bit, you just, do fine. I actually got prescribed that little puffy thing. Never used it. I got, all of that stuff, and this woman doctor was telling me, oh yeah, yes, you have asthma and you need to take this and that and this medication. You know what I took out of that? Nothing. Never. Not a single, nothing at all. You know how many times I had asthma attacks or asthma problems or anything related to anything? Never. Never. So it's a perfect example. Again, many years ago, boxing, I had like one of these little cysts that you sometimes get in your wrist if you're hitting stuff, right? So it's like a little ball here or here somewhere. And you go to the doctor. Oh, why? Well, because you have a little golf ball here in your wrist and looks bad, right? Oh, we need to do surgery on that right away. Because if we don't, if that you cannot punch anything anymore, and you need surgery right away. Because if not, you will lose dexterity in your hand. I was like, I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. I can move my hand just fine. Oh, but if that like breaks, it will be terrible. I did a little bit more research. I learned a little bit more about this stuff. I talked with our people, and I kept on doing normal physical activity, and that eventually broke. I think I hit something or someone. I don't know exactly what it was, but in one of those, I felt like, oh yeah, that's strange. Oh, it's gone. It just disappeared. Did anything happen to my hand? No. Was he bullshitting and lying? Yes. Why? Well, because of money. Because surgeries are fucking expensive, and they make money out of that. Once you start thinking that way, there's a lot of these things that, now, isn't that something that's safe? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. There's so many cases of people that got, caught up in this fucking thing of getting treatment and surgery and medication for this and that, and they end up dying because of it, right? I think that the COVID vaccine is a good example. Yeah. I'm super happy I didn't get it, that no one in my family, and by my family I mean my wife and my kids, but there's so many people. I don't know how it was for. Let me know what your personal experience with that stuff, with the COVID vaccine. The pressure, man, the pressure of people telling you you're stupid, you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna get sick, you're gonna die. It's rather the opposite. Some of those people actually did not do very well with a vaccine when they got it. So, and you know of so many people that had problems because of that, heart problems or stuff going on, and who knows what could happen to them down the road. These are things that are also related to the way I at least conceive being prepared, being a person that sees things different from the ordinary mass. And then there's been like cases like. I think I told this several times. I was with a friend of mine. We were delivering a truck to a construction site in the Andes, right? They were actually building the road connecting between Argentina and Chile in the middle of the Andes, very high in the mountains, and yeah, this pretty crazy place in the world. And we had a car accident. We actually went off the road. There was not a road because the road was actually what was being built. So that's why we were taking a truck. We were taking a Toyota Hilux. Yeah, that Hilux. And it was about that same year. Fucking indestructible thing. And that's why they use those in construction sites. So we were taking that Toyota Hilux to this place. It got very late. I don't know. We were having issues with the altitude sickness and whatnot. We ended up crashing with a car and stranded in the middle of the damn Andes, right? Now, the first thing that actually saved my life, and that is, there you go. You have a perfect example, using my seatbelt. I was wearing my seatbelt. My friend was wearing the seatbelt too, and we crashed. We got out of the side of the road and crashed, like head first, like boom, like that, against a boulder, a rock that was maybe twice the size of the actual damn car. It did not move a damn inch. That rock was like boom, hitting it with a Hilux. It didn't even budge, nothing. Duck, like that, zero. Whatever speed we were going at, it was straight to zero, and the car felt like that. And you felt the seatbelt actually holding you instead of flying through the windshield and cracking your skull against a fucking boulder in the middle of the Andes, which would have been, would not have been good. So that is something that I can tell you saved my life at least once, having a seatbelt. I don't remember any other like big car accidents but that was a typical thing in which you go flying through a windshield. So that's us stranded 2-3 a.m. in the middle of the Andes, and my friend says, "Hey, let's walk back." And he was like he was like ready. Okay, let's go before we get too cold. And I was like, no, you idiot. If we go out there and start walking, we both die. We're not going to make it anywhere. I explained, I don't remember now exactly how, but it was a distance that was ridiculous. We could not walk that distance in the middle of the night, in the cold weather. It was so cold that your eyes froze if you kept them open. So no, if you start walking, you die. You'll end up in the newspaper as, 2 guys die as they walk back in the middle of the fucking Andes, which is a stupid thing to do, but he didn't know that. I knew it because I do this stuff, so I know. And it was not that long ago that I read about a couple people that died in a snowstorm in Argentina in somewhat of a similar situation. They were not even dressed for the environment. They were just doing, I think they were something work related, and they got stranded in a snowstorm, and they walked a very little amount before they froze and died. So I told him, no, you know what we'll do? We'll wait until morning. I had some stuff. I had some food, and I had a sleeping bag that we could open. You know, like something like as if it was like a big something to stay warm. So we were fine. We actually had the car that was still. It was kind of stuck, but we could turn on the heating. So turning on a little bit the heating in the front seat, we stayed there, and and in the morning, when we had a little bit more light and a little bit more temperature, we figured out, and it actually turned out that we had to only get the truck unstuck. And it was the front wheel was bent, but being a fucking Toyota Hilux, that thing is immortal. We ended up driving down from the mountain with a bent front axis, and we made it back. That would have been. It's sometimes those little tiny things. Yeah, sometimes it's about self-defense. It's about the guns. It's about the criminals and you reacting in time and hopefully it's not too bad. But it's also about those little things. It's about those little tiny decisions that would have gotten you killed, doing the opposite not. And then there's a bunch of our stuff, especially related to these things, right? To the economic crisis or the economic collapse in Argentina and living like that, where, you're smart about how do you go about things, about some of the tools you have just to keep you protected from any frozen bank accounts and all of these things. It's not the end of the world, but some people struggle a lot. So if you have that knowledge, that information, yes, you can put it to good use and do a lot better than the other guy that has no clue and he's screwed like pretty much everyone else. But on the other hand, you're a little bit better off because you know how to move yourself in those waters, right? So as you see, it's a pretty complex topic. So there may be situations in which you could go like, have I done this? I probably would have died, right? No confirmation because I'm still here. So that would have been something that you can only confirm from the other side of the of life. But I think it's you have to incorporate it as a way of life, right? If preparedness is a way of life for you, you will be avoiding many situations that can be super dangerous or just bad. And overall, I think you have a better quality of life in general because you're prepared for these things. You deal with them better. It's not as if nothing ever surprises you, but when things happen, you're usually the guy that is, well, just like that. Just you're the guy that's prepared, and that makes things a lot better. Folks, see you on the next video. Take care.